We're a delightful bunch of assholes today.
Hey, well, I'm one of those assholes. My name is Garrett.
I'm the other asshole. I'm Emily.
I'm a nice guy. I'm Jeffrey.
He's a nice guy. He's like one of those nice guys.
I'm a class hole.
He's one of those good ones. You're one of the good ones.
God.
Yeah, this is the podcast where we talk Tudor and teach you about tutors.
This is also the podcast ranked number 44 in history.
No, we dropped down to like 51 now.
Oh, fuck. Well.
I knew it wasn't going to last.
Shut up. I mean, look. It's still
We
pretty
made
cool. We did. I'm happy. And maybe
We
we'll get back up there again. You know? You never
Who
know what's
knows?
going to happen.
And we were mentioned in a life hacker article.
Yeah, I'm so pumped. I told my mom about that. And
Really weird.
My mom was super excited for us.
If you wrote that article and you're a listener, thanks.
But it's kind of even cooler if they wrote the article and they weren't a listener, because that means that we're findable.
Maybe it's like, my wife listens to this fucking podcast and I hate it. I'll mention it, though. Maybe it's something like that.
That's exactly what happened.
That is 100% what happened.
I like his accent.
Hey, I wrote this blog about some podcasts and,
You said, for some reason, I don't know why, but you made me think of Jimmy Hoffa. I mean, not that I know what Jimmy Hoffa sounds like, but I feel like that's what Jimmy Hoffa would have sounded like. Or maybe the man who
The only
killed
thing I
Jimmy
know
Hoffa.
about Jimmy Hoffa is that he's dead and no one knows where he's at.
And then What's His Face is doing a movie about them. Do you guys know who What's His Face is? That famous director? Mike,
Spielberg.
No, not Spielberg. Scorsese. He's doing a new movie. I think it's called The Irishman. And it's about Jimmy Hoffa. Okay. Are you guys ready to talk Tudor?
Oh, that's what we're here to do?
What are we talking about
Yes.
today? Yeah.
So I actually...
Did you not know?
Oh, shit, Jeff. Did you not know that's what we do?
Nope.
Oh, fuck. What did you think we were doing?
No clue.
Jeff's here for the laughs.
I
You
just
thought
got
this was a Richard podcast.
You what?
I thought this was
You
a
thought this was the King Richard podcast.
Fuck you. Not in my house.
King Richard did nothing wrong.
Can't. You're fired. Get off the podcast. No. So, do you remember a couple months ago when we talked about that free course on the tutors?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I started it, and one section was really interesting, and I thought it would be really cool to do a whole episode on this. So, we are going to discuss other world events that were happening during the Tudor reign.
Oh.
Yeah,
How come
so-
I not thought of that before?
I don't know. Why haven't we thought of that before? So, I don't know why we haven't thought of doing that before. I think we've kind of talked about some other stuff happening, but never really going outside of, honestly, France and Spain. So I thought this would be a really cool opportunity to discuss it. And it actually reminded me that there's a book that I want to read, which I think I might want to do for book club, but it's nonfiction. So I don't know. I got to put a thing about that and let everybody have a vote, nonfiction or fiction. So if you're in the Patreon book club, let me know. Would you prefer a nonfiction or a fiction book? Back to the original point. There's a book about Elizabeth I and her relationship with, I believe it was the Sultan of the Ottoman Empire, I believe. And that's on my list, so I want to read that. But anywho, it's kind of weird to think about how much shit actually happened in the 1500s. I know the reign was from 1485 to 1603, but frankly, most of it was during the 1500s. So that's just kind of what we're going to have to focus on. So are you boys ready?
Let's do it.
Okay. So, guys, you remember that awesome song we all learned in elementary school? In 1492,
Columbus raped, pillaged, and plundered.
the ocean blue.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep, that's what happened. So Columbus was busy doing his shit. He was exploring and thinking he found the Indies or India when actually he found America.
And all went
Good
great.
enough.
And good enough. And then he named it after himself. Nope, just kidding. That was Amerigo Vespucci. Why do I remember that name? I didn't look that up for this episode. I just
always remember Amerigo Vespucci because I remember that Columbus is a fucking hack.
He is a hack. He didn't do shit all. This is our new podcast. Fuck Christopher Columbus. He did shit.
We're here all for Leif Erikson.
Hinga-dinga-durgan. No, so there was a lot of exploration happening during this time. Apparently everybody and their mom was busy trying to just discover as much as they could about the world. So in this time
Which
period,
is fucking terrifying, by the way. Sorry, I want to interject. The idea of just you have no idea what the world looks like. You think that like England is the entire world to you, but you've never like traveled to any of the other continents. My girlfriend and I started watching the Terror.
What is that?
Have you guys seen that yet?
No.
So the Terror is a sorry for this divergence, but it's a history show, so you might like
Ooh.
it. It's about a naval expedition through the Antarctic, through the Northern Passage, I think.
Uh-huh.
And about these two ships that got lost and no one knows what happened, and it does some speculative fiction with some supernatural things, but it I believe it's an actual like incident that happened.
Like what time period does it take place in?
Mid 1800s.
That sounds fucking
So there's a
baller.
lot of
where
wigs.
can I watch this?
On Hulu.
Cool. I'm gonna check that out because I need a new show.
And the other thing is, I think they're doing an anthology thing. So the first season is about that. The second season is about, I believe, Japanese internment camps during World War II.
Oh shit! God, this sounds awesome.
Yeah.
I want to watch this.
I mean, internment camps are not fucking awesome. But
No. But
idea behind the
finally
show is
bringing it
pretty
to
sweet.
light and not just brushing it under the rug. That's awesome. Sorry, got a phone call from Emma Stone. So Dodo, yeah, Garrett. I mean, you hate the ocean too, so.
Yeah, the ocean is fucking terrifying. That was my whole point. Like going out into the unknown to like chart the ocean where you think there's just giant squids all the fucking time.
Yep.
Also, at this
Like-
point, they all thought the Earth was flat, so they could have fallen off.
No, they did not.
Wasn't Columbus one of the first people to kind of like?
It really
Kind
wasn't.
of.
I'm pretty sure that was a myth. Like not that the Earth was flat.
It's not a myth,
but,
Emily. The Earth is flat.
When did people stop?
They never stopped thinking
Shut up,
as Emily.
Jeff. Stop thinking. I think it was disproved before them. Like way ahead of them. God, I'm so diaper.
I think you're
So
right.
we just got back from being in Florida on the Atlantic Ocean, and like you could look out and just see forever. It's kind of one of those crazy things. I'm always like, how there are people still who
There
think
we
the
go.
Earth is actually flat.
From at least the 14th century, belief in a flat Earth among educated Europeans was almost non-existent. So,
Oh.
yeah, 1300s. That's about what I thought. Anyway,
Don't worry, we're throwing all that out the window nowadays.
yeah, we are. Anyway, everybody was trying to figure out what was going on in the world. So Ferdinand Magellan was the guy who organized the first circumnavigation of the globe. He was Portuguese. And then another Portuguese named Vasco da Gama, he was the first to reach the East Indies by sea. So he was able to kind of set up that link between Europe and Asia via ocean. That happened in 1499. So that kind of got them going on that spice trade. That was super important.
I'm sorry if this is an ignorant question. We can cut this out.
No, it's fine. I asked a
if-
dumb one
if-
earlier.
So it seems like Spain and Portugal, they had a lot of they did a lot with with naval expeditions and all that. What was the reason there?
I don't know. I think it was because their king and queens were like, yeah, I'll allow this. Go ahead. Here's some money. I think they were more interested in creating an empire. And England was like, we're just a tiny island. All we want to do is survive and possibly take over France. So I think that's what, I mean, I know for a fact that Ferdinand and Isabella.
So they're like, let's explore some shit.
Yeah, I think so. And then there was also everybody's favorite villain from everybody's favorite non-Disney movie, The Road to El Dorado, Cortez. He was from Spain, and he led the expedition that led to the fall of the Aztec Empire. So he established rule that over what is now Mexico. So that whole, like, let's fuck the Aztecs up happened from 1519 to 1521. So they were kind of wrecking everyone's shit. However, they did become incredibly wealthy from plundering these kingdoms that they were, or from plundering these lands that they were conquering.
Well, no one's using this shit now.
Well, they got theirs because Queen Elizabeth was like, hey, Francis Drake, if you want to go ahead and do a little bit of piracy, steal some of those jewels and gold, that's totally cool. So piracy went up.
Elizabeth encouraged piracy to steal from fucking Spain?
Yes. Yeah, pretty much.
That's awesome.
Yeah, she was
I
like,
fucking love that so much.
She wasn't being like, hey, Spain, got your shit. But she was like on the sly being like, go ahead, Francis Drake. She called him her little pirate. So either that or he had a weird dick. If they happen to be
Spanish, that sucks.
Yeah.
Wink.
Yeah, if you get some Spanish, we're not going to be that upset. I have a certain ex-brother-in-law over there who's kind of a twat. So while all of this exploration was happening, there was also some trouble arising for Roman Christianity, so Catholicism. So little bit of backstory. The Mughals were pushing back the Portuguese in India. Land that had been conquered during the Crusades was being reclaimed, and Orthodox Russians were attacking Poland, which was a Roman Catholic country. So Pope Julius the Second was like, fuck, we need some help. So he contacted his bestie Henry VIII, and the problem was,
we're on good terms, right?
Oh yeah, this was like 1513, so things were totes cool around then. So here's the situation that the Pope really needed some help with. A certain French king named Louis the 13th. I wrote 12th, but it was the 13th. He was also claiming the kingdom of Navarre. So he was like, Naples. He was the king of Naples. So he was trying to get back land from Italy. The Pope was like, hey man, we're all Catholics here. Could you not? I've got some other shit happening on the other shores. And I didn't really mean literally shores, guys. So don't jump down my throat for that one. So Julius was like, hey Henry, you know how I keep thinking of you as the defender of the faith. Why don't you go fuck shit up for France so that Louis stops taking over my land? So I don't remember where I was, but essentially Henry was like, yeah, sure, let's go destroy France. So he invaded France, and then Scotland, France's ally, was like, okay, well, since you're going to do that, we're going to hop on over to England. And that's when Catherine of Aragon kicked their ass at the Battle of Flodden. So that's when their king was killed. So that's all kind of ties back to how the world pushing back on Catholicism and Catholic countries led to Henry VIII invading France and the King of Scotland being killed. So it's kind of interesting when you think of more things like that. Like you think Henry VIII was just in the mood to destroy France, but the Pope gave him a compelling reason so that he could still feel like he was not, so he could still feel morally superior, essentially.
There's always going to be a thing with Henry VIII and moral superiority versus the Pope.
Yeah, pretty much.
Probably.
So I did find some super interesting info about a completely different area that we've never talked about, Russia. You ready?
Yeah, let's go.
Okay. So, guess. All right. How many Russian rulers do you know of, Gare, off the top of your head?
Let's see. Alexander?
I don't think. Wait, what?
Russian rulers?
Yeah. You mean Alexander the Tsar from?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you know anybody else?
Putin. Mikhail Gorbachev.
All right, let's go back a little farther. In 1547, Ivan the Terrible became the ruler of Russia.
Ah.
Yeah. So he was considered devout and intelligent.
I heard he's a pretty good guy.
He's actually not that terrible, except from the serious rages where he killed his son and his grandson.
They probably had it coming.
Probably. And he was also a little bit paranoid. So he kind of sounds a little bit like Henry VIII, guys. He was interested in being involved with England, though. When Elizabeth was ruler, he reached out to her and was like, hey, do you think that we could create a military alliance? She was like, maybe, possibly, we'll see, as she did. I think that was like her tagline, maybe, possibly, we'll see. But then he also was like, these guys over here started calling me Ivan the Terrible, which honestly it hurts my feelings more than anything.
They were saying really mean things.
They were just really mean, guys.
Ivan the Terrible is no good.
They should call me Ivan the Sensitive.
I actually prefer my other nickname from school.
Ivan
the Sweetie.
Ivan the nice guy.
Ivan the nice guy. But they keep threatening to take over. So if that happens, can I come hang out in England with you safely? She was like, yeah, totally, sure, as long as you're paying for yourself, because I don't have extra money to spare. So, I think also at one point Ivan proposed himself as a consort of Elizabeth, meaning they'd get married. Obviously that didn't go anywhere, but can you imagine being Mrs. Terrible?
It sounds like a comic book villain.
A really shitty one.
It's Ivan and Mrs. Terrible.
So
now entering the King and Lady Terrible.
Lord and Lady Douchebag.
Everyone's booing.
Boo. Boo. Why do
playing out of tune.
Oh God, poor Terribles. I mean,
Coming
he ended
this
up
fall on ABC.
It's like this. That's the sequel to The Incredibles, The Terribles.
No, that's like when they have like their own like supervillain team that goes up against them.
It's like the Rowdy Rough Boys.
Brad Bird, call us.
We got you, dude. So stepping away from Russia, let's talk a little bit about some science. Yeah. Science rules. Bill Nye the Science Guy was born in 1501.
What about Nick Cage, the
real
science
Henry
mage?
fact.
Nick Cage, the science mage, was also born in 1501. Who'd have thunk?
I mean,
You
that
could've
makes
said
more
Bill
sense.
and
Yeah,
it still
that man
would've been
will
the
never
same.
age.
What'd you say, Garrett?
I said you could have. It sounded like you were going to say he was built in 1501, and you could have just kept it there because it would have been true.
Also, yes. No, actually, in 1543, Copernicus dared to suggest that the sun was at the center of the universe, and the Pope was like, "Fuck you, you're excommunicated."
Drop down and give me 20 Hail Marys.
Galileo also in the 1500s started, and it was funny reading the article because it said he started experimenting with gravity. So I'm just totally picturing him just like dropping shit over and over again. Just like,
Soon they will beware my anti-gravity machine.
oh my God, what if
What's the
Galileo
story?
was
Like
a
an
villain?
apple fell on his head?
Wasn't that Isaac Newton?
Yeah.
Oh,
Who did?
whatever.
His anti-gravity machine is just a trampoline.
What if, guys, Copernicus or Newton, what if they were bad guys? What if they were trying to figure out how to use gravity against us?
I mean, Da Vinci left the planet.
Bye, animatronio.
Didn't they not know what gravity was? So how would they know to harvest the power of gravity against people?
Well, that's what I'm saying. If he was a bad guy and he discovered gravity, then he could have been like, I could use this to my own ends. But instead he was like, I'll just find out what this is and educate the world. And the Pope was like, no, fuck you. Stop educating people. Go to hell. Hey, speaking of popes.
With gravity.
But you're not going to fall because gravity doesn't exist. Hey, speaking of popes, there was one pope so full of himself, he changed the world's calendar and called it the Gregorian calendar.
Huh. Probably won't catch on.
No, probably not. So...
His name wasn't Greg, was it?
Pope Greg. It was like the Dharma and Greg of the 1500s.
Actually, I like the idea of the Catholic, like, there is no such thing as gravity. That's just God's heavy burden on you.
That's original sin.
That's the weight of your sins. The more you sin, the faster you fall.
Oh, hell yeah.
So, that sounds like a really shitty book. Okay, so Pope Gregory the 13th, he wasn't actually so full of himself that he changed the world's calendar. I think it had been proposed by multiple scientists and astronomers. So essentially the problem was the Julian calendar, who, by the way, I just got to go on a little bit of a rant here. You know how some people are like, oh, it's really irritating that October is the 10th month, but Oct is 8. Well, the reason that is because Julius Caesar was so fucking full of himself that he created a whole month and named it after himself. And then Augustus Caesar did the exact same thing. So that's how we have July and August. They weren't originally part of the calendar. Sorry, that it just
June, September. Whoa.
Yeah. So, anyway, essentially the calendar that they were using.
So were the months just longer?
The one they were using before the Gregorian one?
Yes.
So essentially the problem was that the calendar was 10 days out of sync with the moon and the sun. So, and they didn't have a cool way to sync it back up.
That's why we have daylight savings.
It is exactly where we have. No, it's not.
I know.
That's why we have the leap
day.
year.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what they did, now imagine how much fucking havoc this caused. In October of 1582, to fix this issue and then to get them going on the leap year schedule, they just dropped 10 days.
Okay.
Like just
so
10 days.
Imagine the jobs that we have now and somebody tried to pull that shit.
Right?
Well, I'm always trying to think, like, well, imagine if the U.S. actually decide to go metric.
God, I fucking wish we would. I'm so, like,
God.
I don't mind relearning some shit so that we can stop being wrong, essentially. Like, all of the international things that we're like space exploration, all of that kind of shit, math, things like that, it's all done in the metric system. So why the fuck am I here measuring flour by cups? It's just not. Sorry.
It's like you're having a fancy nice dinner, but you have to like make it a special way because somebody like doesn't like lettuce.
It really is.
So you gotta like, yeah, right.
Yes. Anyway.
Or like you and 10 of your friends are getting a supreme pizza, and one person doesn't like
anything. She just wants
pepperoni.
cheese.
Just got to ruin it for everybody.
God damn it, previous Emily who used to do exactly that. I'm better now.
You know what? I'm realizing that was a bad analogy. Please continue.
Continue with the supreme pizza.
It makes sense in my head. It's the cough medicine.
All right.
That's okay.
All right, back to the calendars.
So in October of 1582, they just dropped 10 days out of the calendar to kind of fix that situation. But so the Pope did this, and Queen Elizabeth wasn't on good terms with the Pope. He just excommunicated her.
What? The Pope was upset with the Tudor?
So England and America didn't actually adapt to the Gregorian calendar until 1752. So can you imagine? Okay, but like, that's why sometimes when I'm talking about dates, I'm like, well, according to the letters, it was the beginning of March, but actually it was the end of March.
Some person's traveling to Spain. You're like, oh, today's day. Oh, it's Tuesday. What the hell's a Tuesday?
Yeah, it's just like
stupid smarch weather.
It's just crazy. So like that's why, and then on top of that, in Tudor England, the New Year didn't start, and this might actually be in other parts of the world as well then, but the New Year wasn't until like March. So you think you're reading about something that happened in 1542, but it actually happened in 1541. The baby's tickling Jeff.
Math is hard.
Math is hard. I'm so glad I don't math. God, corresponding. Can you imagine sending a letter and you're like, honey, I just got a letter from you from next Tuesday. What?
She sent me messages from the future.
I wrote that yesterday.
Burn her. She's a witch.
She turned me into a newt. So, okay, I got 2 more things to wrap up what was going on, and one I unfortunately couldn't find more on because
actually before
our internet went out.
So with Russia, was it called Russia back then, or when was the whole USSR thing? That's the thing.
USSR was after World War II.
Okay, I just didn't know, like,
yes,
was it called Russia back then, or was it called something else, or was it just a bunch of other little?
I think it was called Russia.
Okay.
Oh, the dumb question, Garrett. You said, forgive me for being ignorant. I asked if Russia was technically part of Europe, and I was very relieved when I read the answer that certain parts of Russia are, and certain parts of Russia are considered Asia.
Too damn big.
Right. How many time zones? Is it like 17
it's
time
just
zones?
Crazy. Your country's so big, you're not even part of the same continent.
God, it's insane. So also during this time period,
to be fair, North America, pretty
big.
United States, pretty fucking big.
Well, United States, Canada, and Mexico.
Have you guys seen Australia? Because that shit's insane. Have you guys ever seen one of the, I swear we've probably brought this up before. Have you ever seen one of those globes or maps that actually show everything, what's it called? Oh my God.
Topographically?
No. It's when everything is actually appropriately sized compared to each other.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
They're insane. It's so cool. There's a word for it, and it begins with a P.
I mean, it's like when I was a kid.
Proportional.
It's like when I was in school, they would do the thing for United States, it's like when they would actually like take how big Alaska is and put it over the United States to show how big it really is.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like one of those things, how much of it is even habitable.
Ask Sarah Palin. There we go. There's a famous Alaskan. Okay, 2 other things that were happening during this time period. The Ottoman Empire was actually at its peak from 1520 to 1566 with the rule of Suleiman the Magnificent. And that was when my internet died, so I couldn't find out more about him, but I would like to do a Patreon episode about him. And finally, guys, I saved the best for last. In 1560, Elizabeth Bathory, a countess in Hungary, was born. What is she famous for, you may ask?
Yeah, Elizabeth Bathory was fucking insane, dude.
Garrett, why don't you tell Jeff, who's not into serial killers and crime and murder like we are, why don't you tell Jeff a little bit about Elizabeth Bathory?
Please do, because I'm scared now.
You should be.
Elizabeth, is it Bathory or Bathory?
I don't know. Somebody will tell us if we're wrong.
I think it's Bathory.
You say Bathory, I'll say Bathory.
If I remember correctly, she was...
No, you're right. It's Bathory.
Okay, thank you. She killed dudes and allegedly bathed in their blood.
She killed girls.
She killed girls, sorry. She killed girls and bathed in their blood.
Yes. Yep. Like hundreds and hundreds.
Bathed in the blood?
Of virgins.
Well, it's better because I like to murder people that haven't been fucked before.
Yeah, totally. She's one of the most prolific serial killers. And if you guys want to listen to some more interesting stuff about her, Queen's podcast did one, and it's really fucking fascinating.
That's such a thing about serial killers back then. Just seems weird to think about, but you feel like that stuff probably serial killer was the king.
You're right. So here's the thing.
I would love to do an episode on that for us.
Okay.
By the way,
we can do a Patreon one.
Maybe Halloween.
Ooh, yes.
Spoopy.
Spoopy. So anyway, that's the shit that was happening outside of Tudor England during the Tudor era.
I love it. And
Yeah.
it seemed like you pretty much just covered Europe for the most part.
I really wanted to get to outside of Europe, but every time I saw something about like Japan or China or India or the Middle East, I really wanted to get into the Middle East. But the problem was I didn't have any background for that stuff. So I would read something and I'm like, okay, but how important is this? And
Yeah.
so
Gotcha.
I kind of want to do a whole episode about Asia and the Tudor era. And like the thing is there had to have been some sort of interaction between them. So I'm gonna look into that and we'll do a part 2 to this episode.
It'd be interesting to also think about the other places that other countries or whatever that England owned.
Did they own a lot?
Like, well, it's think like the Americas.
Oh, well, yeah, that'd be, I mean, after the Tudor era, but
Well, because I thought Virginia was named after her
yeah, but it wasn't really set up until like,
after she was.
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I
Way
think
later.
I have to do some more research. Anyway,
And that baby cry means it's time for us to wrap it up.
yes. And we're going to end with a rap. Jeff, do the country song from Animaniacs.
United States, Canada, Mexico. I still can't do it all.
I know. We can only say United States, Canada, Mexico.
All right, here we go.
And this is why we
Yo, my
dropped
name
to
is
51.
Henry, and I am a.
For those who can't see, I am very white.
All right.
Emily, you
so,
ruined it, and the moment's over.
I know. I try. So until. Oh, wait. No. Find us on Twitter at
Find us on Twitter.
Tudor Know Her. Find us on Facebook at Tudor I Hardly Know Her. Find us on Gmail. No, wait. Is it tudorknowher@gmail.com, Gare?
TudorKnowHer@gmail.com.
All right. Check out our Patreon. Join our book
Yes,
club.
we have a Patreon.
Tell us about the Patreon, Gare.
So we have a Patreon set up to where you can donate as little as $1 and get all the bonus episodes that we will be very, very soon be releasing. I know we set this up, I think it was
ago.
at the end of July, and lots of things happened where we have not forgotten about it. We have not forgotten about you. We want to get these rewards out. We're still figuring out some of the logistics, but we are going to get bonus episodes out soon, if not by the time you hear this podcast.
Yeah. So there's also a book club, and you can join us in the Q&A session if you're donating. And then, of course, we're going to be reevaluating these and seeing how successful they are and all that shit. So
But you'll still get these episodes.
always and forever.
Yep. These will always still be free.
Always and forever at our weird, irregular schedules because our lives suck.
Yay!
No, they don't suck. I've just got, like,
They don't suck. Life's pretty great.
life's pretty good right
Thanks
now.
to you.
Except for my ear, which I'm pretty sure is bleeding. So I'm going to go.
Mop,
So until next time,
mop.
Till next time.
Divorce, beheaded, died.
Divorce,
Divorce,
Beheaded,
Beheaded,
Survived. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Goodbye. Bye.